Harper Audio presents All My Life, a Memoir by Susan Lucci with Laura Morton. This is Susan Lucci. To Helmut, Liza, and Andreas, who are my world. Introduction. The streak is over. The streak is over! When I heard the very charming Shemar Moore utter those now famous words on stage, my first thought was that he was announcing some playoff score for the audience. I had been to many charity events over the years where the MC kept the crowd up to speed on important sports scores, so I honestly didn't realize what was happening. The truth is, after my 9th Emmy loss, I couldn't hear the name of the person who won anymore. I would become numb as the winner was called out because, well, I had lost so many times. Was it self-protection? I think it must have been. But the way I always knew I didn't win was when somebody else stood up and made her way to the stage. Everybody in the audience, including me, was applauding and looking at her, not at me. The Emmys that year were held at the Paramount Theater inside Madison Square Garden because Radio City Music Hall, the usual location, was being renovated. Madison Square Garden is one of New York's great landmarks, so it was exhilarating to attend the awards there as a change from the usual venue. My husband and I walked the red carpet, where we were greeted by the press and many dear, upbeat fans. I was invigorated by their enthusiasm, but was doing everything I could to keep myself calm. "Susan, who are you wearing tonight?" one entertainment reporter asked. I was wearing a beautiful white silk Badgley Mishka gown. It had a tracing of platinum and a sprinkling of crystal beads. I also had gorgeous Fred Leighton chandelier earrings on and was carrying a matching Judith Lieber beaded bag. My husband Helmut and I made our way into the theater, where we were seated in the front row next to Rosie O'Donnell, who was to my left. I had enjoyed appearing on Rosie's show a few times. She was always very warm and gracious, though I didn't know her that well. We greeted each other, and then she leaned over to me and said, "Susan, when you go up on stage tonight to claim your Emmy, why don't you give me your evening bag? Otherwise, when they announce your name, you'll be very excited. You'll stand up and you'll step all over that gorgeous bag, and that won't look pretty on TV." "Oh, thank you, Rosie," I said. "That is so nice of you. But history has taught me that I am probably not going up there tonight. I am a hopeful person, but past shows have proved that it's likely I won't win." Then we both nervously laughed at the obvious. Even after Shemar shouted, "Susan Lucci!" I remained seated. I didn't hear him call my name. The only way I knew I had won was that Rosie reached over and grabbed my bag. It finally clicked that Shemar was referring to me when he said, "The streak is over." Of course, I was in total shock. This was the first time my name was mentioned after the envelope had been opened. I could barely muster up the strength to stand on my very wobbly legs or to hug Helmut, who had to literally pick me up by my elbow. I leaned into Helmut and whispered, "Are you sure?" "Yes," he said, as he gallantly escorted me to the stairs leading to the stage. I slowly walked up each step, trying to remember what I thought I might say, just in case. I rarely prepared an acceptance speech. It seemed unnecessary after 19 nominations and 18 losses. I was so weak in the knees as I walked toward the podium, I was worried that I wouldn't be able to stand. Okay, I will admit that the night before the awards ceremony, for the first time in quite a while, I began to think there was a possibility that maybe this would be my year. The media certainly held out great hope. Plus, it had been a good year for the show. My storyline was very strong. It primarily revolved around Erica's intervention with her then 11-year-old Bianca, my daughter on All My Children, who was struggling with an eating disorder. The scenes were wonderfully written, and so many people were saying that they thought the performances and the writing were deserving. Yet I had heard that sentiment many times in the past, so I didn't want to get my hopes up too high. But if, for some reason, it was meant to be, I didn't want the moment to go by
Sample complete. Ready to continue?